Alright, this is a special segment. It's coincidentally segment number 20 of the Longplay. I did not plan this, but it kind of ended up this way. So this run has been quite a while in, and I just more or less confirmed that I have hit 32 science packs per minute from science 1 to 5, so that infinite research is well underway. You can see it's Pump Jack 16 being researched right now. It's been a while, just chugging away at this. I'm pretty sure everything is hooked up correctly. Like, if there are mistakes, it probably wouldn't be that hard to fix because like all the moving parts already. So yeah, there's a milestone. I'm aiming for 64 or maybe even 128 science packs per minute, but 32 is plenty, and it kind of is a good showcase of how the base is laid out and such already. So I thought it's a good time to just describe what the hell is going on and my thought process behind this entire thing and all, and so on and so forth. So once again, this is a bit loud. There we go. I have this saying, I'm obviously a factory game nut and a survival crafting base building nut as well. If a game allows me to stack stuff vertically, I absolutely will stack stuff vertically where it's satisfactory. This game unfortunately can't do that in Dyson Sphere and not in Factory as well. But yeah, even Factory Town, I try to stack stuff whenever I can. I need to get back to that game. But yeah, so the idea behind this is to create something that looks awe-inspiring, I guess. One thing I can say is, aside from the stacking stuff, I do not like main bus builds. The only game I ever main bus is Factorio, and it's because I'm so used to it in Factorio, but new Factory games I try not to. And Foundry definitely lends itself to not using a main bus. You can, but it's there are definitely alternatives, and there are many factors which make it just as viable to not main bus versus main bus. So yeah, this is a layout which pretty much resembles city blocks. I kind of wanted it to look like a massive cyberpunkish production facility, and everything is very well sectioned off, and so on and so forth. And then, so this is a production area. That's kind of like a town square with the robot, I mean the big statue, and then this is the actual research area. Science packs are being produced in the building surrounding the actual research cube, as I like to call it. Then over there is more production, that's cells, that's concrete. We'll go through that one by one, and that's the intake, or the where the ore comes in, the raw resources. Factory game best practice is usually to compress stuff before you ship. Like in the case of Technum, you can compress it 4:1 into electronics before shipping it over. But just for the sake of spectacle, I wanted everything produced here, and God help my FPS as well. My FPS is so bad. You can see it's like probably 15 or so, 15 to 20 FPS. It's not good. I'm in contact with the dev team, and they're very confident on being able to optimize this game a lot. And as a benchmark, the January build that I made for the early access launch date trailer, there was a cosmetic build with a lot of deco pieces. When I finished building that, it was 8 FPS on my system, and it got optimized all the way to the fresh 60. So I'm pretty confident this will get a lot better than it is right now in this video, just so that that's clear. So yeah, this run, originally I was not going to build cargo ships, but that just became such an exercise in insanity that I relented on that. I compromised and I did build cargo ships, and now everything's being shipped in from the various infinite mining veins. For example, here you can see 3 of them here, and then it's all over the map, and they're all being brought into quite I thought it's a healthy distance away so that it wouldn't be drawn, but apparently it's still too close, and it's still being drawn from my main base, which probably doesn't help FPS. And the other thing I wanted to do, just to kind of like prove a point, is to not use blast furnaces. I'm pretty sure that's not doing any favors for my FPS as well, because one blast furnace probably puts out as much as this entire stack of smelters at once. So it'd be like one of these interactable panels instead of like literally 200 over of them. So yeah, again, my FPS is not being done any favors here. So I guess to start off the tour, we should look at where all the stuff is coming from, which is obviously these cargo pads, like I mentioned. So the way these are laid out is, I figured since it's square, there are 4 sides it comes out of. I decided to test out if a single destination cargo pad can support 4 output belts, and my testing yielded yes, it kind of can. I have not run into any throughput issues where like the belts start underfeeding. Each of this is being fed by probably like 8 start pads, 8 into this one destination pad, which is why there's a whole bunch of them waiting there queued, because my stuff backed up. So the way this works is it tiles, like they can be crammed this close together, like literally with one space in between them, and that space is just so that I can get in and out easily. And I found a way that these belts kind of weave around each other. Let me go to a place where there's ore on, yeah. So this you can see here is Cenoferrite on one side and Technum on the other, and this one is because this pad is Ceno and this is Technum. And kind of like the trains in Factorio, the way this works is you want to have multiple loaders going into a buffer, and then the buffer outputs a single belt, so that the docking process and unloading is fast, and then it results in a constant output. And that's repeated 4 times, 1 on each side of the pad, and then it goes down these 4 elevators, and it comes out 4 belts per cargo pad. So I have 3 Technum, these 3 Cenoferrite, 1 Ignum, and 1 Mineral Rock supplying the base right now, which is a little bit overkill, but better to have more than not enough. So yeah, and it comes here, it's all the way to base. There's stuff over there, but I'll get to that later. So the way this works is it goes underneath and it arrives at the smelting area. So here is steel. Speaking of, I think it's a good time to bring up that all these layouts that I'm using in this run are all documented in the Steam guide that I have, Foundry compact layout Steam guide. There's kind of an ironic juxtaposition in that the production itself, it's so compacted, but there's so much empty space in between them. I guess it kind of makes it cool to look at as well, because you can really tell what's going on. Like this is obviously steel, 3 levels of steel being produced, and then this is 3 levels of Cenoferrite plates being produced. Like the ore goes in and then it gets crushed, it's smelted, and then it comes out the other end as plates. The mats here is crushing. It's a T2 tech that takes the ore in, well, ore rubble, and outputs ore, and then if you smelt the ore instead of the ore rubble, you get 50% more. So the mats here is, each of these levels is 2 belts in, 2 belts of Cenoferrite rubble ore, and 3 plates out. So it's 50% gain. The blast furnaces actually give even more. Is if I'm not mistaken, it's 300% output. But like I said, I don't want to do that just because I want a huge number of machines just for the spectacle of it. So yeah, ore comes here, it gets turned into plates, or in the case of steel, it's 2 belts of Cenoferrite and 1 belt of ignium, and 1 belt of steel comes out per level. So the plates mainly go into here, which is the machine parts production. Each level is 4 belts in and 4 belts out. Very easy mats. I have not connected this yet because I haven't needed to. It's a little bit of surplus for expansion. And miscellaneous, like plates go to the cells, and plates go to, if I'm not mistaken, this is going to research, and also the mall, where my loaders and the other very commonly used stuff is made automatically. But the majority of it does go to machine parts. Machine parts comes out and goes, the majority of it goes straight to advanced machinery parts, which was also fed by the steel. So the mats here is Each of these floors is 4 belts in of machine parts, and 2 belts of steel goes in, and 2 belts of advanced machinery parts comes out. It's probably better to look at the bottom one. So like 1, 2 steel and 1, 2 machine parts out, well, advanced machinery parts. And the other side would be the 4 belts that are being supplied here. It goes in this way. So that's advanced machinery parts. The reason for these layouts is it makes the maths a lot easier for me to brain on a macro level, like just counting by belt count rather than worrying about exact maths. So fractions of a belt is much easier to brain, at least for me. Might be different for other people. So that's kind of the centofarads part of things. And the main draw for advanced machinery parts is probably the drones. I know it's right now it's taking 2 belts full of advanced machinery parts, and then there's miscellaneous stuff like the research. And if not mistaken, robot parts use advanced machinery parts as well. So yeah, that's the cenoferrite part of it. The technum is pretty much almost a mirror image, except that instead of steel, it's 2 different towers worth of technum ore. As you can see here, 2 belts in and 3 belts out, same as the cenoferrite. Holy shit, the FPS is so bad here. Jesus Christ. So yeah, 3 out per level. Most of it goes to electronics. So this is the electronics production area. It's similar to machine parts in that 4 belts go in, but in contrast, it's 2 belts of electronics out. There's actually a intermediate step where the technum first is made into wires, and then wires plus technum is electronics, but it's all kind of handled in a row. You can see like here is less loaders because these assemblers are wires, and then they feed directly into these, which are the electronic parts. So 2 belts out per level. Most of it goes to circuits. Actually no, most of it goes to the drones, but we get to the drones later. So technum to wire to electronics to circuits. Circuits is 2 belts of the electronics in, 1 belt of polymer, which is being made on the other side, and then the electronics, the circuits come out. So yeah, again, very neat maths. It's basically black boxed into 2 belts in, 1 belt in, 1 belt out, and that's how the entire build works. Just black box city blocks of easy to understand maths. So we'll come back to this because this is pretty advanced already. This is even more advanced. I wanna go over to this side. This is the polymer. Each of these halves make a belt of polymer, and this is just 1 input, which is the crude oil. And there's waste product, but the waste product doesn't really do anything. It's to get dispersed into the air. Doesn't even like summon biters like in Factorio. It's literally just a byproduct to deal with. Yeah, so like I said, crude oil in, self-sufficient. The distillers are here, and then it's if I'm not mistaken, the mass is just over 21 casting machines for a full belt of 640, and it's double over here. So I have a maximum throughput of 2 belts of polymer, which I'm not completely using just yet. But there's I just wanted to set it up this way so I don't have to dismantle or expand it later. So that's polymer. Taking a segue to concrete. So this is one of the layouts in the guide that I'm most proud of because it turns the concrete production into a very, very compact and very understandable 2 inputs, which is the cenoferrite ore rubble and mineral rock. It becomes gravel here, and what's the other one? Cement, if I'm mistaken. Gravel and more gravel. Gosh, where's the cement? It's the other side. Yeah, cement. And then it all goes in here and becomes concrete. Like it's literally just 2 inputs and then concrete output ready, which is very, very handy. And this thing's running full tilt because each of these squares makes enough for 16 per minute signs. So this feeds exactly 32 per minute signs, as we'll see later. So that's concrete. Cells take more mineral rock, as you can see it's coming straight from there. It takes some ignium. It takes plates from over there. It takes a whole bunch of electronics. And again, this is another layout which is in the guide, which I'm really proud of, because it just simplifies the entire process of making cells into almost raw input plus the plates and then cells out straight away. No fuss, no like bussing things here and there. It's just self-contained and it's tileable. Like, it's tileable this way. This is 3 tiles across, each of them making, if not mistaken, 120 cells per minute, and then it's tileable vertically as well. I've been talking so much, it's already nighttime. So yeah, that's my cells setup. And coming back to the drones. So drones are basically SP4 tech, where it's sent to the space station via the these warehouses and the cargo ships, transport drones rather. And the way that this works is the ratio for drones is 5 electronics, 4 machine parts, 1 cell and 1 circuit makes 1 drone. And the way that I've calibrated these floors is each of them makes 160 drones per minute. So technically this building should max out at 4 levels. I'm only making half that right now. And 640 drones, a full belt, would correspond to 64 per minute signs. Right now I'm only making 32 per minute, which is half, which is again why it's 2 floors instead of 4. But yeah, this thing maxes out at 4 floors. And because the max is 4:1, those 4 floors will be fed, they'll be supplied by 1 full belt of cells, 1 full belt of circuits, 4 belts of machine parts, advanced machine parts, which is 1 per floor. And the electronics is where it gets a little bit tricky, because technically it's 5 belts feed 4 levels. So it's 1 full belt per level plus another quarter belt, which I'm kind of like hacking here by limiting the rate to a quarter of a belt by using a little Mark 1 piece here, so that this will be exactly 160, which is like a quarter belt. And the quarter belt feeds the last 4. The full belt, as you can see over here, these full belts feed 16, and then the quarter belt feeds the last 4, and this one entire level outputs 160 drones per minute. Like I said, if it's summed up together 4 levels, it makes a full belt of drones, and I don't really have that right now. I'm going to get to it at some point. So that's the drones. It goes to the warehouse. The warehouse gets sent to the space station. The space station trades it for thermalite bars, which is required for the 4th and 5th level science packs. They come back here. I'm not too certain on the maths of this. I'm just overbuilding and oversupplying stuff right now for that. Thermalite bars go straight into SP4, and they also get smelted into sheets for SP5 production, and also the some of it goes to the mall to make the, what's that, Mark III assemblers, the green color assemblers. So it kind of runs through the entire production chain. Is there anything I'm missing before coming to the thermalite stuff? Gone through polymer, I've gone through cells, I've gone through concrete, advanced machinery parts, yes, circuits, yes, yeah, technically, yeah, that's pretty much all the different constituent parts that go into the science packs. So yeah, thermalite comes back, it gets melted, or zapped, I guess, in an arc furnace into bars. So arc furnace makes liquid thermalite, and the liquid thermalite is a 1:8 ratio into 8 casting machines, which produce the bars. There's a little bit of buffer that I have here. And the bars go to, if I'm not mistaken, it's, right, robot part production. So this is the last building in the front of the science HQ. So this is robot parts, and it's being fed by advanced machinery parts. Yeah, thermalite here, polymers right next door, some electronics as well. I've got a whole surplus of electronics just as a buffer, and I get sent back into this building, which is the big research lab and support for research lab. So the other parts that are needed for Science Pack 5 are the pistons. No wait, pistons is over here. Being fed steel and the is it olomite? Low density olomite, I think. What's it called? The purple shit. Yeah, it's low density olomite. That's pistons. Unfortunately, these do not get upgraded, so they are going to be quite space heavy, which is why they are in their own little place. And then the CPUs. So there's a teluxite processing area off to the north, which I'm probably not going to go to because there's, if you're not doing robots, if you're just doing maintenance drones, the teluxite draw is actually very, very low, and you can get by very, very few buildings. So these make the CPUs. The CPUs go also to the research building. So all these constituent parts, they get sent to the central processing area, which makes the actual science packs. Like I said, this entire build is calibrated around capping out at technically 128 science per minute. I'm not sure if there's even enough space to put enough labs there. So the way it works is Science Pack 1 is here, Science Pack 2 is here. They're 1 floor each for Science Pack 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, 5, the production rate inside the assemblers is half of that of Science Pack 1 and 2, which is why 3 has 2 floors dedicated to it. I've not built anything here yet, but these two will be Science Pack 3. Science Pack 4, same thing here, 2 floors. I already built one there just to kind of like gauge the space. And Science Pack 5 down here. As you can see, all of them are on. You can tell by the smoke being emitted by the assemblers. So the production ratios are perfect, like it's not being underfed anything. And I left it running for a while already, so like if there are any problems, I would have spotted them by now. Which I did spot a lot of problems, like loaders not being connected and stuff like that. So I think I fixed everything. And if we go check the science being produced, I mean the research, it says 24 of them are active, which is correct for 32 per minute, because the rate of consumption is 1 every 45 seconds per lab, which means the amount of science packs per minute being produced divided by 4 times 3, in this case 32 divided by 4 times 3 means 24 of them are active at once, which is correct. So yeah, I'm pretty confident that the entire system is running without any bottlenecks, until I guess I run out of olomite feeding the olomite production stuff. So again, the way this is laid out is 16 can go up to 32 for 64 per minute science, because each of these produce 2 science packs per minute. And if I for some reason want to actually expand it to 128, God help my FPS, then it doubles up here, so it'll be like 8, 16, 24, 32 times 4 for 128. Same thing for SP2, and here is already 4 rows, and if I want to double it, like I said, it will be on the 2nd floor, and if I want to double that, then it will become Mark III assemblers, again for a total of 128. I also am forward thinking. I assume that Science Pack 6 might be the same mass as well, 2 per minute. If it's not, then I will have to figure something out, but right now these 2 floors are dedicated to Science Pack 6. If and when that happens within this save, maybe I'll restart at that point by the time Science Pack 6 comes out, I do not know. Despite working closely with the devs on like the promotional stuff and the music stuff, I actually am very, very clueless by my request on upcoming content, because I do want to go into it fresh. So I have no idea what Science Pack 6 entails right now. So yeah, all these science pack production, they all get sent down to the bottom, which is here. You can see they all come down here, and 4, 5 comes here, 6 theoretically will come out here and connect up to this, and then they hit the start of this spiral going up, where this is completely superfluous. There's no reason to do this, but I just wanted to as a kind of like a little bit of a flex. It spirals its way up in one contiguous row, so to speak. It's all using the same belts. It goes all the way up and can extend it a little bit more all the way up here if I need to, I guess. And coincidentally, I found out that the radio tower is just the right dimensions put smack in the middle here, so the result is something that looks pretty unique, if I say so myself. It's got that weird optical illusion where the top row kind of feels like it's on the left of the bottom row because of this diagonal thing, but obviously it's not. This is directly above. This is a weird artifact of the way it spirals up. So yeah, that's the build. I don't think there's any point going to look at the veins because there's not many ways that people can vary up how the veins are tapped. You tap it and you ship it, and that's about it, more or less. I do fracking on site. The fracking oil, the oilomite that goes into fracking is completely separate from everything else, especially for the power generation, just so that I won't accidentally run out of oilomite that's feeding into this, and then the ignium runs out, and then my power goes down, and I'm completely screwed. So there's a little bit of redundancy there. I'm not sure if redundancy is the right word for that. It's more of like insurance, I guess. Having the oilomite going to fracking for the ignium, which is my power source, being completely separate from everything else. I'm pretty sure I'm running out of oil at this point. I need to tap more before I even think of expanding this to 64, but at least the power will not fail. So that's the build. I've talked until it's nighttime. Even outside in real life, it's almost nighttime. Not kidding, it's 10:42, it's almost around lunchtime. Holy shit, I've not slept yet. Oh yeah, and these, I have this is the belt production. I have this layout for producing belts on that Steam guide as well. The mall, I'm not 100% happy with it, and the fact that now we do have the data cables means it probably can be simplified a little bit more by having multiple of them in a single container. But for now, this is what I'm stuck with because this was what I built earlier in the run, and I don't really want to change it because it's functional enough. It builds a lot of the staples that I use, for example, loaders, the freeloaders. I don't know why I still have the Mark 1 miners here. I don't use them at all. Mark 2 is here. Smelters, obviously, because I don't want to use blast furnaces, so these are a lot of them. Underground miners, power poles, crusher. I don't know why this is. Oh, I see. What happened is I only wanted 10, but I put all the crushers back in here and it filled up the entire container. And then crusher Mark 2, wall poles, and then the tree assemblers. I wanted to automate the fluid assembler as well, but it's like, forget it. I'll just manually craft them whenever I need them. It's not that many compared to spamming assemblers out the wazoo for everything else. So yeah, that's the build. If I've forgotten anything, I'll probably put it in the description. But yeah, the big question mark, which I'm still not sure on what happens when I expand, really is this mess with the thermalite sheets. I'll probably need to research and test a little bit more before I feel confident on saying I've mastered this aspect of the game. But pretty much everything else, I'm pretty confident of getting stuff up in an organized way in any new run. So technically I kind of like brained the fun out of the game at this point. If I need to start a new run for a new update, that's not going to be a problem. As with most factory games, a lot of the downtime isn't building stuff, it's when you think of a way to improve things and then you dismantle stuff to rebuild it. That's where a lot of the tedium and make work comes in. So knowing what to do for a start and building things in the quote-unquote correct way from the get-go saves so much time. This run, if I'm not mistaken, I got to Science Pack 2 in 90 minutes, if not mistaken. It might be like just under an hour. I need to go and check. And then Science Pack 3 within like 2.5 hours, and Science Pack 4, or at least the radio tower, within like 4 hours, if I'm not mistaken. So it was really, really fast. And then after that, I had no idea what I was doing after that. And then I refurbished stuff. This layout is a couple of iterations within this run itself. So I did dismantle a lot of stuff and rebuild it in different places. This used to be advanced machinery parts, and this used to be machine parts, and that used to be electronics, but I just shifted stuff over just to make the belt runs shorter and like less crisscrossing of belts all over the place. So I'm pretty happy with how it is now. And again, I'm pretty sure updates are going to change up, not necessarily production lines, but introduce more parts, especially for Science Pack 6. So this might not be the ideal way to lay things out in future. But for now, and for the eventual expansion that I'm going to do for this particular run to get it 64 per minute, this layout works for me. So yeah, that is the tour. I've been talking for 30 minutes straight, and I think it's time to have lunch.